Yes, good afternoon, everybody. So, whatever the class is being recorded, it is also available on RPS app. So, previous day we had finished the chapter that is name Should Wizard Hit Mommy? And you have already gone through all the chapters of class 12, and this is a revision going on for you. Revision plus extra input from my side and your side. So, therefore, we are here. So, today's chapter, which we are going to read, is on the face of it. So, when I say on the face of it, what comes to your mind, Bharat? On someone's face. So obviously, especially the title of the chapter may tell you something about its character, its plot, its theme. So here, when you read on the face of it, you understand that the chapter or the story is revolved. It's telling you something about somebody's face, or someone's face, or something's face. So the word has been used here, it, on the face of it. So it is not used for person, but here the author has used the word it for the boy, on the face of it. Written by Suzanne Hill, the author. And if we talk about the theme of this chapter, the major ideas, the message of this chapter, it is about knowing self. It is about your self esteem. It is about knowing your weaknesses and your strength. At the same time, about your disfigurement, about your what do you say, impairment. So somebody said that impairment of heart is more dangerous than impairment of body. Impairment of heart or mind, if you consider yourself that you are impaired, you are disabled, you are weak, you can't do, already you decide in your brain, in your heart, that is more dangerous than being physically impaired. Because there have been many examples in history, in India, in the world, where all these impaired people, physically disabled people, or we call them new term, specially able person, they have created history. Many have even climbed on the Mount Everest. Tell me the name of any. Arunima Sinha, the volleyball player who was thrown out of the running train, and then she climbed, and not only once, I think twice, once. So there are other people who have even climbed twice or thrice, twice or thrice. Those who have crossed English Channel, the water body, and like that there have been many examples. Throughout. There is also a man, Nick. I think Nick, some name is there. He's a foreigner, and he was born without his arms and legs. What is his name? It's very famous. He is only that much only. He is a millionaire, and he gives talk. Yes, motivational speeches. Yes. So like that there are many. So what the chapter tells you, that you should not be afraid. You should not have negativity towards yourself, about your life. Many often we regret. We are sorry. Oh God, you haven't given me anything. You see other people and you say that you have made him so beautiful. You have given him so many property, good parents. But we, sometime the negative thought may come to our mind about parents, about family, about money, about brain, or about our fair complexity, our looks. It may happen. So here the chapter tells you that we must not be affected by just our physical impairment. Rather, we have a strong will, determination. Now, if I talk about the story and the characters, in the story we have two major character. One is a young boy, Derry, or he has also been called Derek. He is a 14-year-old boy. Now, the problem is with the boy is that he has got burnt marks on his one side of the cheeks. One side of his face is burnt with acid. When he was very young, that time some misfortune happened, some incident took place, and his one side of the face was burnt. So because of that, he became very negative. He was negative about everything, about world, about even his mother, about everybody, about the society, and therefore he had shrunk himself. He had closed himself. Closed himself means he did not want to talk to anybody. He just remained in himself, self centered. And the reason is that he was afraid that when I go out, who? The boy is self centered because he is not bothered about anyone. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. What is the definition of self centered? Just lost it. Yes, matlabi, both. So, in other sense, if you are talking in Hindi, so meaning is that only matlabi means khud se matlab rakhne wala. Okay. So, because he did not like to talk to people, he did not like to mingle, so you would say he was self-centered. If he was not self-centered, he would go and talk to people, he would help people, he would play with everybody. So, he was isolated as well as self-centered. Why I say the word self-centered? Because he had his own aura and he was closed in that only. He had his own intro. You can take notes and word. If you do not want to accept, you are free to say your own opinion. Okay, but what I say, he was self-centered and isolated, closed, and because of that he had developed negative, because he was all alone, and when you are alone, you are encircled by all kind of negativity. You remain with positive people, you become positive. You remain with negative people, you become negative. So our what do you say, surrounding environment, they influence us either positively or negatively. So this boy, he doesn't want to talk to anyone, neither his wife, sorry, he not wife, mother. Why? Because a situation comes here when he met Mr. Lamb. So he tells Mr. Lamb, even my mother doesn't love me. And if she loves me on the other cheek which is not burnt. And she loves me because it is her duty. She is my mother, he says. This is the point of view of the boy. He says, she loves me because she has to do. Otherwise, I may feel bad according to his point of view. So even he speaks about other women, that one day I heard some women, they were talking about me, that look at that face, even a mother can't love that face. So Mr. Lamb told him, so that means you believe what all you hear, whatever you hear. So if you hear everything, then it's not good for you. And the man is trying to explain, the man is trying to bring positivity into life, into heart, into mind, into soul of Derry, a 14-year-old boy. So this is one character. Now second character is Mr. Lamb. He is around 60 to 70-year-old man, but there is a difference between the personality of Mr. Lamb and Derek. Both of them are suffering from physical impairment. He is having a tin leg, an artificial leg. One leg was blown off long time back, perhaps when he was in the army. So it was blown off. And still, he was positive. He used to talk nice things, positive things, inspiring people. He used to help children. He used to give them jelly, crab apples, candy, lollipops, whatever you can imagine, he could make out of his fruits. He had a big garden, he had a big house, but in the big house, in the big garden, he lived all alone. No wife, no children. And still isolated, but not isolated. He was alone, but he loved mingling with people. He loved talking with children. And he also says that children used to call him Lammy Lamb, Langdu Lamb. Chidate the bachche usko. But still he did not bother. So he told him that if you hear the people, if you hear the surrounding, you can't be happy because कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का तो काम है कहना और अपना काम है आगे चलते रहना. वो गाना सुना है तुमने, बहुत पुराना, बहुत अच्छा सा गाना है, पॉजिटिव सॉन्ग. ठीक है, तो यू डू गुड, फिर भी लोग उसमें कमियां निकालेंगे. यू यू डू बेस्ट, देन ऑल्सो पीपल विल हैव, एंड और गलती होगी तो गलती में तो निकालेंगे इसी. So you can't satisfy, you can't make happy everybody. So the contrast, you would notice that he was full of energy. He was positive man. Even children call him Lammy Lamb. He did not mind. He might have felt bad, but he did not show it in his words, in his brain, in his feeling, in his behavior. Now, this is the introduction about the character, and there's also very less information about Derek's mother. Derek's mother only mentioned when Derek returns home and he takes permission from her mother to go back to Mr. Lamb's house. So, initially, when you read the chapter, we read in the first part, in the first scene, that this is the scene of Mr. Lamb's garden, and Mr. Lamb was there in his garden, and there was a boy climbed on the wall of Mr. Lamb's garden. So the boy thought, and the boy was none other than Derry. The boy thought that he has been not noticed by anyone. He thought that there is no one. If he knew that there is somebody, he wouldn't dare to go because he loved living isolated life, alone, separate from the world. So he thought there is nobody, and fortunately I say, there was Mr. Lamb. So Mr. Lamb said, "Hey bub, hey boy, mind the apples. Mind the apples. You would fall down. Okay, you would stumble. There were many apples fallen on the ground also." And he stood there only. And now the conversation between them started. Conversation between the old man and the boy. So, whatever the conversation goes on between the two, that changes the life of Derek. That brings positivity in life of Derek. So they start speaking slowly and gradually, and Derek says, Mr. Lamb says, "My gate is always open. Why you came through the wall?" He says, "I do not like to go to people. I do not like to talk to people." He says, "My gate is always open. There come children, there come people. I welcome them. I give them candies, and I never mind anybody entering into my house, even my house. Even the curtain of my windows are open. There are no curtains, transparent." That means it shows that he was a hearty man. He loved to remain in society. Now still the conversation goes on, and Derek, he tells him, "Won't you ask about my face? Won't you ask about my name?" And before that, he also calls him friend because he did not know his name. So by mistake, Mr. Lamb had called him friend. So he said, "How can you say we are friend? We have just met." So Mr. Lamb explains that everybody is friend. I know you, you know me, we know each other, we are friend. I call friend everybody, those who come here. Conversation goes on. And the boy says, "Don't you want to ask about my face?" He says, "No, I'm not interested in it." He says, "I think you are changing the subject. You are purposely changing the subject. People in my life and everyone do that. They pretend actually they want to ask, and he is provoking Mr. Lamb. He's saying you also want to ask, but you are not asking. So he says no, I am not interested, and then automatically the boy opens up. So that's called opening up. The boy pour out everything to him, speaks out everything to Mr. Lamb, slowly and gradually. So he says that this is my burnt face, and it has been burnt because of acid long time back. And I do not want to talk to people. I do not want to mingle to people because I'm afraid that people will be afraid of me. They would look at my face and they would run away. I do not want to face any kind of discrimination, negativity. Therefore, I close myself. I remain separate. And now still the conversation goes on. And there he gives the example of a man. So Mr. Lamb give the example of an old man, and he says that there was a man, he was afraid of his death. He was afraid of going out, and therefore that man had closed himself in a room. Like that, the man is there, and he had closed himself in a room. He did not go out of the room. Why? He was afraid of his death. But what happened? One day when he was sitting, there was a painting. There was a picture hanging on the wall in his house. And that picture fell on his head, and the man died. So at this fellow, Derek, he started laughing, and his mood changed. He is opening now. His mood changed, and he starts telling Mr. Lamb that you are a strange man, you are a unique man, you speak unique things. That means all these things are motivating, inspiring to Derek. He says, in my life, never anybody has spoken to me the words which you say, the sentence you say, the motivational speech you say. And all his words, all his messages, all his conversation, it fascinated Derry. And now Derry doesn't want to go. And now Derry was also interested in Mr. Lamb's life. So he asked Mr. Lamb, what has happened to your leg? And Mr. Lamb says that one of my leg has been blown off, and it is made of tin, artificial leg, and people call me, children call me Lammy Lamb, Langdu Lamb, but I do not mind it. My gate is always open for the children. The people come here. And he also says that even I love talking with the nature, butterflies, the plants. I'm not alone. He says, Derek asked him, you live alone in this big house? He says, no, I'm never alone. My whole house is open, gate is open, people come, children come, and I talk to the birds. I talk to butterfly. I hear the singing of the bees. And in my leisure time, free time, I collect the crab apples. I pluck the apples and other fruits. I make jelly out of it. I give it to the children, and this is how my time goes. And now the conversation was going on for a long time, a very big chapter, but in a nutshell, I can tell you that he was trying to um, send his positive rays to Derek, and to very extent it had reached to Derek. And now finally, because they talked for a long time here and there, and Derek had not informed his mother where he was about, because perhaps he had come to steal the apple. And there was also, he said that young boys steal the apple, but you are not young. You are not young means you are mature. Initially in the conversation took place, that time he had said, so Derek said, I haven't come for stealing. So Lamb said, I know you are mature, you won't steal. So, like this, the words, the conversation, the motivational words affected, influenced Derek, and Derek was a transformed man now. Now, after a long conversation, Derek tells him that I am going back to my mother. He says, I will come back. But Mr. Lamb says, no, I know that you will not come back. People always do like that. So, again, he is just trying to provoke him so that he will come, so that he would change. So, he says, no, I know you will not come. Children like you, lad like you, they always say, I will come, but they do not come. But Derek says, no, I will come. Let me go and inform my mother. Now Derek comes back home. He runs, he goes to his mother, and he tells his mother that I am going back to Mr. Lamb's garden. And mother at this, she says, that's a suspicious man. We do not know. Only 3 months are over. Since 3 months we have been here. And I know more than you. What do you know about him? People speak ill about him, suspicious things about him. So mother was telling him not to go. Mother told him again and again not to go. But the boy did not listen. So you could see that the words, the aura, the personality, the language, the speech of Mr. Lamb influenced Derek so much that he did not even mind listening to his mother. And he comes back. He comes back. So when he comes back, Mr. Lamb was still working in his garden evening time. He had a ladder, and with the help of that ladder, he used to climb the trees and he used to pluck the crab apples or any other fruit. So that's what he was doing. He was on a tree, and suddenly one branch of the tree which he was holding, it broke from the tree, and ladder also fell down, and Mr. Lamb also fell down. So when Mr. Lamb fell down, there on the main gate, there was the boy Derek, and he was running and he was shouting to him, "Hey Lamb, Mr. Lamb, I am coming. Where are you? Where are you, Mr. Lamb?" He was coming. So Mr. Lamb had already fallen and he had died. And the boy comes and he sees that Mr. Lamb is lying on the ground. He comes and he tries to wake him up. He says, wake up, Lammy Lamb, Lammy Lamb. Now, because of frustration, because of anger, he calls him Lammy Lamb, Langdu Lamb. Wake up, wake up, wake up. But Mr. Lamb doesn't wake up. Mr. Lamb is dead. So the boy was motivated, he was inspired, he was influenced by Mr. Lamb's positivity, his words, his kind behavior, his kind attitude, and therefore he came out of his shell, came out of his shell, closed shell, encircled attitude. And now, perhaps because the chapter ends here, so here Mr. Lamb fell off the ladder and he died, but he changed personality of Derry. He made him a happy, positive man. And with this, on this note, the chapter ends. So that's the summary of the chapter in detail. Okay. Thank you very much. See you soon.